Hi, I'm Donita Thompson, and I am a reporter for Circle City Magazine. I'm here today with Richard Mogadam, and he is the founder of the Funded Project. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Funded Project is?
The Funded Project is a corporate charity that is backed by Metro Media Funding Solutions to help small businesses that normally don't have any type of an advertising budget to get in front of new customers. It's a television show, if you will. It's an episodic television show, and we air new episodes every Tuesday.
Awesome. Where can you find those episodes?
You can find them on all kinds of different platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, you name it. It's all over the place. I know there's several different little stations that are syndicating it and airing it too. So it's something that's kind of neat to watch when it keeps on growing too.
All right, awesome. So how did you get started with, I know you mentioned Metro Media Solutions, and you decided that you wanted to help small businesses. How did you get started with that?
Well, I've worked in the funding space here for several years of some of the alternative financing for businesses and for businesses that may not be able to go get regular bank loans and stuff. So it was one of those things where I've seen the need because no business survives without customers. We've been trying to help these businesses out. And the best way to help them is to put them in front of more people that will utilize their products or services. So we do that with the television show. And so it was something that it was originally started off in a Facebook group, and all it was is just a little way it was a give out lunch to some local businesses that stayed open during the pandemic, and it kind of snowballed into this episodic television series now.
Okay.
And it's kind of neat because some of the businesses that have been on it are actually really starting to take off and grow, and it helps them out.
So what made you desire, what was your goals for wanting to help these businesses? What made you start that out, and what were your goals for it?
Well, all right, so a little bit about me goes into the Funded Project. Back in 2011, I owned a roofing company that fell apart. It was called Patriot Restoration. It just fell apart. I was growing faster than my piggy bank would, if you would. I contacted some advertisement that I had seen somewhere on the internet back then, trying to find some help for my business to get some working capital to grow. Well, what ended up happening is that I got a call from somebody. I don't remember if they're from New York, Florida, or whatever, but they turned around and they promised me that I was approved for a $1.5 million loan for my roofing business that never transpired. And they talked me into take out an advance, and that my loan was going to get approved the next week. Well, it never did. Well, I kept up with all the payments and everything with the advance, kept everything going with that. It really caused some damage in my business because I was led down a road that I would never have went down if I was promised something that wasn't going to come to transpire. So it was really a mess. And so the domino effect with Patriots, I was really what happened with that business model was all insurance work. So, we would collect insurance checks, but they would pay us a partial payment for work to get started and then pay the rest of it off at the end.
Right.
Well, it was a roofing company. So the problem is with roofs is that they're kind of like Christmas presents. You never know what's underneath that thing until you crack it open. So we would have to supplement the insurance companies for additional payment for things that we did not see when we were looking at it from the outside. So, and we battled with them about paying the supplemental payment, and a lot of them just did not want to pay the supplemental payment. So I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, if you will. I got myself into some trouble. I actually ended up, I went to jail for it. It was a mess. And,
trying to keep your business afloat.
Trying to keep my business afloat. I mean, it would have been and I freaked out, tried to run from the problem, everything else. And it was just a mess. It was an absolute complete mess. Mm-hmm. So, as standing back up on my own feet, back in 2017, I was literally, coming out of jail, basically homeless and broke. I literally had 47 cents left in my name. And what I do have is that one thing that never can be replaced is my ability to be able to talk to people or sell or do whatever it needs to do what we need to do to make the business grow. So, I was working with another broker at that point. I remembered this industry. I did a lot of research on it when I was down. I learned a lot about it. And I ended up working with a broker that he's not in the business anymore. As I understood this, my background is in business marketing and mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
So I discovered that I was like, hey, this merchant cash advance tool, it's exactly that. It's a tool. So it's one that I could use when I'm, working with a business. As long as it's actually going to help them make money, we can use it to help them make money. So we developed it. So I kind of went independent, started my own. I had a hard time with, people even giving me a shot in the first place.
Right.
I mean, we're not in New York. We're not in Florida. So we're not any place close to a lot of these companies.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know who I was.
Right.
And a few of them gave me a shot, and I stuck with those few. And they're still here with us today. Our network is actually, it's a pretty powerful network. It's grown to, it's quite a few funders, but ultimately over 300 different programs. But we use the merchant cash advance tool a little bit different. A lot of people that sell it as working capital for their business or, emergency funds or something. We actually work with these businesses to be able to put that money to work. So if you take, for every dollar that you get, we're going to try to turn it into $5 with your, how we work with your business over the course of time, before the payoff matures. Mm-hmm. So that's actually been kind of a neat thing for us to be able to work with some of these businesses doing it. And it's worked out very well. Multitudes of success stories. I've got a 94% retention rate. We work with them very closely, all the way down to their web services, all the way down to videography, all the way down to whatever it takes to get more customers in the door, because it's a mathematical formula. No business survives without customers.
That's true.
So we have to figure out a way to bring more customers into that business. We look at what's working in their industry with other businesses that are similar to it and figure out what's working and what's not, and capitalize on the stuff that's working to help them increase their revenue while they have the advance out, so affordability does not become an issue.
Right. Well, I'm really big on letting experience build my future and show me and guide me and create wisdom. So can you tell me about how your experience with your business and the failure of your business and how that happened? Can you tell me how that influenced you and helped you to build the business that you have today?
So when I came out of that situation, when I came out of jail, when I came out of, standing back up, it was one of these things. I was just like, okay, well, I've still got Metro Media as a business. I am going to make this to the point that this never happens to another business again. I didn't want this to happen to another business again. I didn't want to see this ever happen to another business, because people don't realize the domino effect that causes on the other end of it. So I got into this to, not just to work a business. Yeah, you make good money, but to evolve it, to really change it to something that's a positive mindset and how people can put this money to work. Because merchant cash advances are expensive money, but there's a time and a place for it. So that's part of the reason why. And I've declined files that were approved, done that type of stuff, because if I feel like it's going to hurt your business, I don't want you to take it. It's all about what helps your business. So what happened to me and my roofing company helped me to evolve Metro Media. Now, Metro Media has been around for a long time. It started off as a media marketing company when we used to sell newspaper subscriptions in front of grocery stores and, give out gift cards and that type of stuff. It evolved into this little web services type of a company back in the, and then started building websites and all that. It jumped into the funding space back in 2017 on the funding side of it, because I needed to do something. It was really a mess, because I could not let this happen to another business. I lost time in my life that I will never get back. There's no amount of money that I could buy that back with. Mm-hmm. And I still get scrutinized with it, occasionally from different parties and stuff out there. Of course, they don't understand what happened on my end of the story. Yeah, it sucks that people lost money in that situation. Mm-hmm. It absolutely does suck. And I've been paying back, all that type of stuff. Everything else throughout the whole course of years. I mean, I've taken care of hundreds of thousands of dollars of that stuff, making it whole. I mean, I could have went and filed bankruptcy, but I didn't, because I wanted to do the right thing. Even when it sucks, we do the right thing. So, that model is actually ran over at Metro Media. Even when it sucks, we did the right thing. It doesn't matter if I can make $10,000 off your file with your approval. If it's going to hurt your business and cost jobs in the community, we're not going to be the agency that runs it. So, like when we're dealing with some of these funders and stuff, some of these funding houses, the way that we actually look at a file and how, usage of funds and how we put that money to work is all the way different than, just collecting a paper application and a couple months worth of bank statements and throwing it at everybody. That'll take 2 seconds to look at it. That doesn't happen over here. So so the network has actually grown. There's been some businesses that have really taken advantage of it because the cross branding of working with some of these businesses, trying to help them to get in front of a different customer base, just trying to help them to figure it out. And, it's a tool that they use and it works.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example of what success looks like.
So I've had, there's a couple of companies I could think of off the top of my head. The best thing is I'll probably get in touch with them and try to let them to tell their story.
Arlington Beach, California. And, this guy has done so much for my company. And he's basically the reason why I'm still staying topside. And here I am out here. He's cooking me burgers.
And we get to enjoy ourselves.
We get to enjoy ourselves
Because you know what? You and your business, me and my business, we work our asses off.
Because there's countless ones that since we've done it this way, we've helped them to, go from, just plateauing and working, crazy hours to when they go into that next level where they can have an organization that's actually building and growing.
So they go from trying to make ends meet from making ends meet to actually having a developed business that's gaining a profit for
them. Yeah. Because a lot of them, look, like the guy that does bakery, the guy that has a bakery and stuff, he may be great at making cakes and stuff like that, but he doesn't understand anything about how to talk to people on Facebook or how to do conversation starters on Facebook. What might work for you when it comes to search engine optimization for your website? What might work for you and all that type of stuff. And I'm really a good graphics designer when it comes to web services and stuff. So there's a lot of people that they'll come over to me for that type of service, and then they grow, and then they realize that they might need some funding for hiring new staff or something, and that's what's neat about it. So we're able to kind of work back and forth between the divisions on that. So.
So not only do you promote your business, the small businesses that you encounter and your customers through the Funded Project and that the videos and the episodes that you make, but you also work with the businesses in order to make sure that they have the necessary tools and the knowledge in order to be successful.
Yeah,
and if it's not going to make them successful, you point that out and you find another way and help them find another way.
That's exactly
awesome.
Right. That's exactly awesome. Right. And the thing is that with Metro Media, the whole thing is that it's vetted resources. It's ones that I know that I would use myself if I was on their side. I would never turn around and send them someplace that I wouldn't talk to or deal with myself.
Do you think without having that experience back in 2011, 2012, that you would be where you are today?
No, I wouldn't be where I am at today because the thing is that I had to go through that, because there's such a need in this industry, and especially in the alternative financing space, merchant cash advance space. There's unfortunately so many bad actors out there that tell these people something that's not happening. And it's just, it doesn't matter what's going on. Everybody, if they trust you enough to work with you with their business, they deserve one thing, and that's to know where they're at and the truth. What's kind of neat with it is that the corporate charity side, the Funded Project, if you will. So we've done a lot of neat things in the community to try to help some of these other businesses out there, not so much just trying to go sell money or anything like that, but we've gifted a lot of money out there. We've given away a lot of money.
Give me an example.
So like there was this bus. It was a mobile food market, and we basically it was a green and white bus. You wouldn't know what it was, and so we ended up actually funding the artwork on that bus. And then the artist that ended up doing it, we ended up funding a good substantial part of his web services for doing that type of stuff. We ended up taking care of so much different things that were going on out there. There were food organizations out there making sure food pantries are filled and all that type of stuff. We've done substantial stuff out there when it comes to some of these small businesses to have, web services that normally only a large organization would be able to have.
Right.
With the customer management systems, we
Right.
made sure that those resources were there and available for them.
So not only did you help fund the artwork on there, but it sounds like you created contacts for that individual. And do you know if that website that you created for that individual who did the artwork, if he's gaining any extra business from that?
Yeah, absolutely. As we actually helped him out, and he was working a trade show with us over the past week, and I actually made sure that he was over there to be able to do that type of stuff. So it's not something that's his strong suit is making masterpieces in arts, not figuring out how to manage a customer management system.
Right.
So he needed that type of stuff. So he didn't have any way of actually setting up electronic invoicing. We took care of that for him. We covered all the costs for that. We made sure he had all that type of stuff set up and ready to go for his site. So he could actually do that type of stuff. And that's really what it's about. Because as he continues to grow, he'll work with us as he continues to grow. All of them, everybody, like I said, it's like 94% retention rate. 9 out of 10 customers come back to Metro Media. And so the Funded Project, that was just our way of trying to help and give back to the community. And I went through it a lot myself, so it's been an interesting journey. Personally, myself, I ended up fighting a custody battle for my oldest daughter in 2 different states and won. So trying to help this merchant cash advance industry to come back to something that's actually in a positive spotlight, and that they're not looked at like the bottom feeders of the world, if you will, because they're not. There's people that own these companies out there, these funders, they're good people. A lot of them are really good people. For the ones I know, they're good people. They're normal, ordinary, average, everyday people, just trying to make it out there. That's all they're trying to do.
Sounds like you're one of those people as well.
Yeah, we're just normal folks. It just happens to deploy money into businesses.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with it as long as, when you're deploying that money, that we're putting it to work in a positive aspect. That's all it is. We just want it to go to work for that business to help grow that business. Do we guarantee that everything that we put out there is going to work? No, nobody can. There's no guarantee in the world. No one had, and it's such a need. And it was one of those things that with the Funded Project, we had to do this. What was my deciding factor to go ahead and start the show? I was dealing with a customer that came in off of as one of these life transfer guys or something, and he owned several pizzerias, and the guy was really in bad shape. He had 53 people on his payroll. He couldn't pay them. He didn't know what to do, and he was really jammed up. And he told me, he was like, I can't face my employees. He told me he was going to drive his truck into the side of a wall. And that's exactly what he did. He killed himself.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
So there was a voice out there that never got a chance to be heard. And that sucks because, people don't realize the support structure that is absent for some of these business owners out there. It's absent. So when they get calls from everybody that's just trying to bamboozle them into this, that, and the other, it's really a stressful situation for them, because typically these business owners are the circle. They're the circle. They're the rock in their circle. Everybody's leaning on them. What happens if they need somebody to lean on? What happens if they need to go find resources? There's so much stuff that happens behind the scenes in a business. Some of these business owners like that, they work 15, 20 hours a day and do it with a smile on their face, like it's no big deal.
And you've been through those experiences. So how is your support system? I know you mentioned the custody battle with your daughter.
Yeah.
How's your support system?
Well, I've got a good, I'm lucky. I've got a good family and everything else that backs me up and stuff. But you know what the thing is? Not everybody is. Not everybody is lucky. I had to go fight for my daughter, and I ended up winning custody. And she's fine now. We're doing okay. That's not an easy task to go through,
especially with the history and having to go through what you went through and going to jail. And
it's one thing when you're a dad fighting for custody of your kids. It's a whole different ballgame when you're a dad that had a record fighting for custody of your kid, and then fight and win it in 2 states. That's a whole different ballgame. That's a whole different ball game.
Just like it's a whole different ball game for someone to try and help businesses that's never been through the downfalls and everything. So
That's
being
right.
through those downfalls and everything and learning through those experiences is what's making you as great as you are today.
Yeah, it's just we just keep on fighting the good fight for it because our work's not over out here. You know, there's so many businesses out there that don't have access to the right resources. They don't know what to do because a lot of times a business will somebody will jump into business, you know, for several reasons. But what we find during the pandemic, and nobody had a pandemic in their business model either. That
Right.
shut down the whole planet. So
Right.
that caused a whole plethora of other issues.
Right.
But nobody realizes that a lot of these businesses, over half of them out there, they start in an anger startup almost, if you will. Like they're frustrated with what's going on with their jobs and they want to do something for themselves. And they stand up and they start doing it for themselves. And there's also another part of it where they actually, some of these businesses out there, they may have wanted to go to work someplace else and never been offered a job.
Right.
So they started their own. So, you know, these people, they turn around and they jam their personal credit up and they jam their debt to income ratio up to the hill and they mess everything up on their personal credit, do everything they can because they believe in themselves enough to build that business in the first place. And then they don't know what to do once they, you know, they've got bills due and it's not doing what they wanted it to do. So that's what's neat about the Funded Project is we kind of work with, you know, the vetted resources to make sure they have it. So they can survive that and continue to grow and hit their dream.
Right.
And it's not about me.
You teach them, you
To
allow them
every
to make
bit.
decisions, and you help them through those decisions. And that way they learn, so they don't get back in that situation.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. About making sure that you pay attention to certain things like, hey, what are my materials cost here at? What need in the marketplace am I meeting that my competition's not meeting? How do I identify that and show that to my customers so I can see more customers? These types of things, any type of business, it doesn't matter if it's a service or a product or whatever it is, it goes back down to the same exact mathematical theory. No business survives without customers, no matter what kind of business it is. So that's what's actually neat about it is that we've been able to help the mindset of some of these to be able to, grow and keep on growing. And the Facebook group that was the original Facebook group, it's not very big itself. Now our YouTube presence, it's got quite a bit of viewership to it, but the Facebook group was more just a place for them to be able to collaborate with other business owners in a safe place. It's not going to, be filled up with a bunch of people trying to sell them nonsense like you see all over the place. They need those types of resources. We'll help them to find those resources. Metro Media has got a great program for them when it comes to the web services and their funding programs. And we've picked up companies like Jim over there at Landmark Services. He's great for the payroll services. He's cheaper than some of the other ones out there. We've picked up. We've got so many different options and programs for them to be able to get up and rolling. So they're in a safe environment. Because unfortunately, there's too many people out there that's not doing that. They're more worried about their own pocketbook. You know what the thing is? I'd rather make little or nothing off of this person, and then know that they're going to bring me 5 or 6 customers. That it will be you make more in the long run. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
So if someone needs help with their business, their small business, how would they get in contact with you?
Well, you can go to metromediafunding.com. You can go you can go to thefundedproject.org, and you can go to any one of our sites. There's plenty of them. You can find us through Circle City Magazine. There's plenty of different sources you can find us right there. Fundmybusinessnow.com. All of those.
And they would look for the Funded Project.
Yeah, exactly. You know
Or
what the
Metro
thing is?
Media.
Metro Media or the Funded Project. You can go straight through you watch any of the videos or anything. You can go through anyway.
Well, I encourage everyone, if you are a small business and you're having some funding issues, or you just want to learn more about business, or you need a website or anything, get in contact with Richard Mogadam. He is with the Funded Project and MetroMediaFunding.com.
Yeah, man, it's just we just want to try to help you guys out, And also, if you don't own a business and you just kind of want to support some of the smaller businesses in your community, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, share it, tell your friends about the show and that type of stuff. The more people that watch the show,
the more chances that some of these smaller businesses that are on the show will be in front of a new audience.